We hear it all the time. Whether you are not very active or if you exercise every day, stretching is important. But what are the actual reasons that it's good for you?
Licensed massage therapist Jillian Kaplan joins us again, and she knows why it's important. She's here from Jade Star Acupuncture and Wellness. So nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too again. That's awesome.
So some people, you know, they do yoga and they might think, well, that's stretching, right? But it's different than stretching.
It is very different, actually. Yoga, let me start by saying yoga is very good for the body. It's amazing, it's relaxing, and there's many, many different types of yoga. But there really is only one really good way to stretch. And to start with that, muscles are huge rubber bands. They're large rubber bands. They have a lot of different elasticity. Some of them get stuck in one area, like locking long. Some of them get really, really shortened, like, you know, when you have an injury, and then this is what happens. So their elasticity changes throughout your life.
That's a really good visual.
Yes.
Now I can, you know, figure out what is actually happening to my body. So what does it do exactly? How does it help your body? Does it do it mentally and physically, or is it we're just paying attention to the muscles? You're
paying attention to the muscles, but in a general sense, you feel when you're stretching correctly, which is what I'm going to be talking about in my stretching classes. But when you're stretching correctly, you really feel it in one spot, which is the specific stretch that you want. So if you have lower back pain, not unknowingly, you're not going to stretch here, you're really going to stretch in the hip area. So instead of bending down forward, you're not really stretching anything. You're going to want to stretch this one really long muscle that goes all the way from here to here, and that's what's going to help.
So you're transferring
and
that,
and there's groups of muscles. There's layers, there's groups, and there's everything. So when you're stretching just by yourself and you're doing just a quick stretch to undo that leg of yours, just do it with me now. What you're gonna do is, specifically, what you're doing is you're doing the group right now. So if you
I feel the group.
So if you just point your knee down towards the ground specifically, do you feel that more now in one area?
I do.
You feel
right
it
up front.
Right up front, exactly. So
and it's a lot.
It's a big one. That's one of the largest, longest muscles of the body. So doing that, a lot of the times people, I say, yeah, I stretch and I get this. And they're not really feeling anything, right? They really want to be specific. Muscles go in one direction. They start in one direction and they end in one direction.
And it doesn't only help the muscle, it helps the other surrounding areas, like the ligaments, etc.
Ligaments, tendons, joints, and fascia. But let's not get into fascia.
We talked about fascia.
We did talk about fascia. Fascia is multi-directional. Now, another one like that, I'm glad you're doing it because that's called ballistic stretching. And that's not really something you want to do unless you're about to kind of go on a hike to Tumamoc or something.
So,
she's like, quit it.
No, you're okay. You can do it. If you're going to go to Tumamoc, that's fine.
You know what? I think I got tweaked something.
Oh, no. You're going to have to come in and get a massage.
She's like, don't do that. But if you're at work and you are doing some stretching, is it as effective as, you know, you doing it maybe in the morning or at night?
Definitely. I always tell my patients that the first thing they want to do after they wake up in the morning, relieve themselves, is to stretch and to really feel that. You feel all this tension because you're all snuggled up in your nice warm bed, especially right now with all this wind. Everybody needs more warmth in their body, which is exactly what stretching does. It helps spread blood, spread white blood cells, opens up those fibers that are there's multiple fibers within muscles, and the more we stretch them, the more blood gets into those individual fibers and helps them become healthy, not as weak, and not as tight.
You guys are such great experts in this. I mean, you go in depth. It's wonderful because we get such a good education.
So tell us how Jade Star can sort of help us, not only with this aspect of our life, but really in general with our health. Because you can teach us how to stretch and also do some stretching for us, maybe. Yes,
I actually do a lot of stretching within my appointments. When I have a patient that comes in and says, you know, they're like this, and they're like, I just don't know what's wrong. I'm like, well, let's start with a little bit of stretching.
Loosen you up a little.
And the second thing they say, well, I do yoga. You don't have to stretch me. I'm like, well, that's really good that you do yoga, but that's more of a balance. Stretching is specific. So when I stretch someone, knowing where the muscles are, where they start and where they end, that's how I can really get more of a specific stretch within their body.
Well, it sounds like it would be a lot more effective for you to be stretching somebody rather than them doing it on their own.
Right, but it's just like we want to help our patients help themselves.
Right.
So that's really the key is if they do ask and say, how can I do some stretching? We have a lot of different stretching techniques that we help them, and everyone can do it, whether you're 11 years old to 91 years old, anyone can stretch.
Well, I'm probably doing it all wrong because I do it every morning.
Don't do it in a suit.
Really quickly, should you do it at morning or at night?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Okay.
And in front of the computer, get off of that computer as much as you possibly can, and just stretch those core muscles in here. Definitely over, for the women, because they're constantly hunched over. Your eyes are in front of your head, so you can't really prevent all of these fun things. But what you can do is after that, you can open and
which feels so good.
Yes.
Talk about this all day long.
Yeah, I could. Thank you. Thank you.
And right now, Jade Star Acupuncture is offering a $99 new patient special, which is normally $120. And that includes a 90-minute appointment.
And also, Jade Star is offering stretching classes every Friday in January from 5:30 p.m. to 6:45. For more information, head over to jadestaracupuncture.com or call 520-881-0827.